Okay.
Ooh, the live stream symbol
Oh,
on
there we go.
YouTube popped up immediately, but it still doesn't populate the video right
I love watching my expressions in delay.
away.
Oh, and for some reason it says 416. Let me change that. Can I change that? Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, you know what? Remember everybody said that they got like the wrong.
They got sent last week's video last time.
So I'm gonna knock out the description in this one because I know you'll go in there and edit that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just put
There we go. I mean, your description's showing up just fine. But yeah, I don't know why it says 416.
Well, it says 423 now. Well,
Well, here we are. Here we
let
are
me
again.
turn my phone off. My mom already called me once today.
Oh, Mom. Mom's always calling. I got a lot of phone calls today, but not from my mom. That would be weird.
I mean, I'd worry. I'd worry about you. Have you been hanging out with Ruth Finley and her Ouija board?
I used to have one. A Ouija board, not a Ruth Finley.
Oh, geez.
Hopefully everybody is getting sent the right notification today.
Yeah, I hope so. We've got some viewers. Hello, people of quilt nerding.
Be alive in the chat, people of Quilt Nerding. Hi, Robin. Where did my piece of paper go? Hello, paper.
Oh gosh, Robin, what were we saying?
Probably Ouija boards and stuff like that.
Jill communicating with her deceased mother. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
oh gosh, that stinks. Robin, I don't know.
Take me over 5 minutes to get in the video. Robin, to be fair, like we didn't push the video till probably like 8:03 or 8:04. So it wasn't you. Hi, Dawn. Yeah.
Dawn? Or Finley and Ouija boards.
You know, the fact
Yeah.
that you guys are saying it took some time for you to get in, you have a lot of faith in us that we are automatically pushing the live button at 8 p.m. Sometimes it takes a minute to realize we're humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes we have technical issues, which were really caused by the fact that we accidentally stepped on our power strip and turned it off.
Hi, Kellen.
I was like, why isn't anything working on my desk? I was replacing the battery in my mouse and everything, and I'm like, I stepped on my my what do you call it? My power strip.
Oh, well, yeah, that sounds like not a good time.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do. I also almost dropped an entire box of like old school straight pins, like the kind that, flat top, and I have a box. It's probably 8 inches by 8 inches by 2 or 3 inches, chock full to the brim. Yeah. A few escaped, but
Yeah, Dawn said it was a couple minutes after the hour, but she had faith in us. I mean, you should. Like,
yeah, I mean, we're good to our word, you know?
yeah, like we'll get there. Like it might take some swearing, there might be some throwing things. The reason that Steph has those quilts up behind her is so that you don't see what she destroyed in her moment of
Pretty
havoc.
much.
Yeah, like getting to this moment.
havoc. There's much havoc at the cake household at all times.
Yes, havoc is wreaked. You
The
wreak
havoc
havoc.
is
Yeah.
havoc is wreaked. You know, it's really funny. I worked with this girl for a while. Say girl, she was not much younger than me, but she was a very smart person. She was a marketing copy edit kind of person. She wrote marketing copy. And one day she says to our, because we had the same boss, she says to our boss, "You just want to come over here and wreck hammock." Like she writes this in a chat, like we did in our office chat. My boss like stomps over and she's like, "What did you just say to me?" Wrecking hammock. So funny.
Hi,
Anyway.
Jen. Um,
Hey, Jen.
well, since we've got people rolling on in here, we have some housekeeping, some important announcements to make to for changes to the schedule.
Yes.
I have them written down here. It's very official. Um, I don't have my mug though, so I can't be a newscaster.
Oh, I'm a bad newscaster today too. I left one on the kitchen counter.
Mine's in the sink. So that means it's being used, at least.
Yeah, yeah. Mine's being used for sure.
All right, so we have to make some changes to the schedule for next week because Steph mixed up her travel dates and she's supposed to be out of town, and we realized it was going to fall on the 30th, which would be our Tuesday, which would also have been the fourth installment of Dawn's book and Dawn's interview. So we have to push things back. What we're technically going to do is that week, the week of the 30th, we're going to take a break from Book Talk Tuesday. I'm planning to do a pop-up stream, one or two of them, of other things by myself, maybe an unboxing, maybe we'll look at some museum things. You won't be lonely. And then because schedules are weird, we have to work with Dawn's schedule and everybody and our schedule. Steph and I are going to do the fourth install of Dawn's book on Sunday, May 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll put all of this stuff will be posted places, so don't worry if you feel confused. We'll do our last book talk Tuesday on Sunday, May 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll also give the next book assignment, the first chapter assignments on that night as well. Of course, that'll be posted on Instagram and Facebook as well if you missed that. And then for Dawn's interview, we're going to have to push that back to May 13th, also at 7 p.m. She's doing a whole ton of traveling, and that's got to come first.
Dawn's kind of famous. People like book her to do stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, she's a busy lady. So that's when we're gonna have to do that. Now, the nice thing about all that is that you now have extra time to get in your photos, your participation photos with your book, to get those in to be entered into the grand finale giveaway there of Dawn's new book, which is her sewing rolls book. So you'll now have, you should really probably get them in by the 4th, just so we make sure we have time to see them. And then we'll do that final drawing on May 5th for you to get the book and everything. We'll do our interview with Dawn on the 13th, and then the 14th is the Tuesday, and we will resume normal schedule. And we'll be starting a brand new book then. So.
And that book is?
That book is the, oh my God, do I have it here? Do you have it there?
I don't have it on top of my desk, but it's called Legacy.
Legacy.
And it is by, oh my God. I'm a terrible person. How am I forgetting this? She's a friend of a friend.
Hold on. I wasn't prepared for that question. It's Legacy, the story of Talula Gilbert Bottoms and her quilts by Nancilu B. Burdick.
Nancilu Burdick. Yes, Nancy Burdick. I just love the name Talula Bottoms. So yeah, I can't wait to read that. It looks like a very interesting book. So
Yes, and again, the first assignment will be given out on the 5th. That also means that technically we won't have a stream on the 7th that week because we're going to be doing it early. But there'll be all kinds of reminders, and who knows? Maybe there's
yeah.
something special that pops up instead.
Yeah, and by the way, I know there's folks that are playing along but just can't make it live. Maybe hopefully you can make it to the Sunday one that we're having.
Hmm.
And then this alternate day that we're gonna do it's on. So
Yeah, the
fingers
alternate day
crossed
with Dawn
maybe.
is on a Monday.
Yeah, so fingers crossed maybe you can make it live. That'll be fun
Hmm.
to see some of our friends that have to catch the replays.
Hmm. And that also means everybody gets a week off if maybe you have reading you need to catch up on, or even now if you've decided you want to join in on the reading at the last minute, you can. And
Gives you a
and
little bit of time.
yeah, you'll have a whole extra week. So just to be clear, our last chunk, the chapters 9, 10, no, I'm sorry,
10, 11,
10,
12.
11, and 12, 10, 11, and 12. Those will technically be due for discussion on May 5th at 7 p.m. And again, they'll be posting everywhere. So make sure that you're following the Instagram account or the Facebook account. Yell at someone you know. Everything will be good.
And how people were doing this, by the way. Dawn posted something today and I saw a person who was like, "Oh, no, what is this you're speaking of?"
Yeah, I saw that too.
So yeah, let your friends know your ready booky, you know, stitchy friends. If
Robin
you
just
like
said
to
for
read
her,
books,
yeah, Robin just said for her it'll be less T-ball games she has to miss. So, well, just remember that while we're technically like kind of having a dark week, there will be things that happen. It'll just be me all by my lonesome. So as long as I had said to Steph, as long as someone's in the chat and I'm not just talking to nothing, then we're good.
I'll do my very best to maybe be in the chat. I just know that there's internet is like a major issue at this place I'll
Oh
be.
no, I'm
So,
guilting other people, Steph. I don't care about you.
oh, well, what I'm saying is, I can at least try and
You
be
don't
there,
need to be in the chat. I'll just guilt everybody else. Okay, I think that was it for those announcements. For a reminder announcement, in case someone hasn't been around, there is a giveaway tonight.
Yes, and let me share my screen so we can see the delightful giveaways. And you're gonna hold something up, maybe?
I am. So yeah, our first week, we did a really great mug that Dawn made for her new book. And last week was a pattern book. And this week is this really awesome tote. And it's hefty. It's made of like a thick kind of canvas. I used to carry books. It's got a really great wide, thick strap on it. And you are going to love it. Now, if you want to win this, you tonight have to participate in the chat. I will keep track through our entire discussion. Hi, Akamo, about who is in the chat. And at the end of tonight's stream, we will draw for that giveaway. And then you might also need a reminder on how you need to enter into the grand giveaway, which is week 4, which is Dawn's book, Sewing Rolls, Needle Rolls, and Housewives. And in order to do that, you need to send us a picture of you with your book. It can be a selfie, it can be with your pet, it can be on your sewing table, it can be with your kitty. We've had actually a few kitties now. And then someone else posted a really great one today with on their sewing setup, which was fantastic. Something that says, I'm participating. It would be fantastic if you posted it to your page and tagged Quilt Nerding and Dawn Ronningen, or I'm sorry, Collector with a Needle. If you have any trouble with that, you can send it to us and we will post it for you because we like to share these. That lets the world know that you're participating in this fantastic thing called Quilt Nerding Book Talk Tuesday. And we are going to do that drawing now on May 5th, which is a Sunday, 7 p.m. I think I got it all. Hi, Rebecca. She says, I'll
And
see you next week, Steph.
Yes, I know. There's yeah, it's super, super excited anticipation for my trip. And all the people that keep telling me they're gonna be there.
I'm excited for like all the goodies you're gonna get.
Well,
There
I
has
mean,
to be goodies.
I've had some conversations with some OGs who have agreed to give me some of their time for conversations about, you know, the state of affairs in quilt history. So it'll be
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we ready to get into it? Do we
I
have
think we're
anything else we want
ready.
to do?
I have
Okay.
been pining over this now for a week. I remember to take some pictures this time because one thing I would never have been able to hold up to the camera. So
Oh, yeah, the shadowing was like the
yeah, like
difficult
there's
one.
no way. Can you imagine me trying to hold cling, 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 cling? Like that
Yeah.
wouldn't have worked out.
So I hope before I go on to the next slide, Robin, I am sharing your pictures. I hope that's okay. Robin posted some really great pictures in on the Facebook, and so I snagged them, and one for a very, very specific reason. So this is something that Robin shared. It is a little tiny manicure set, but manicure sets, I feel like, have this very like crossover into sewing sets because often it seems like there were items in these little kits or these little sets that could be used both for grooming and for sewing. And, I guess it kind of depends on the era, how often those things cross over. But like, I know when we look at your chatelaine, there's things like scissors and nail things that, I guess I just feel like they kind of lumped that all in together. While today we're like, well, we keep all of our nail clippers and things separate from our sewing tools. But I feel like there was a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more crossover there. And I know Dawn mentioned in the book, like personal grooming tools kind of being in there. So Robin had this little picture, and this is something from her family. And you could see the little implements in there, right? Unfortunately, this one lost the stitching on it. And Dawn had mentioned she has one that it's a little petty point stitched thing. Let me stop sharing so you can see mine.
Hi, Arlene.
This is mine.
Oh, wow, that one's really nice. I have one
Mhm.
too, not with me, but it looks more like Robin's. Actually,
Yeah, and
actually, I feel like, wait a minute, I feel like mine is actually black like Robin's, but has the stitching on the front like yours. So maybe it's a
well,
black
I
version of yours.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Robin's the stitching is worn away.
Yep.
That's yeah. Mine has been the little things on the inside have the little where the needlework tools would go has been either ripped out or somehow destroyed. And it is just being used as a needle case of all these
I
needles.
think that's what I think mine was among my mom's stuff, maybe. I should take a look at it and take pictures when I can get to it.
And so I know these are not American. They are, I believe, German.
Hmm.
It's obviously like a little souvenir item.
Hmm.
Mine has the printing in it, just like Robin's did. Yeah. Um, but I feel like these are the kind of thing like kind of ubiquitous. Lots of people had them, lots of
Don
American
says
women had them.
Don says German imports after World War II.
Yep. And it seems like, I mean, it's leather, but it's like so thin. And I'm thinking those little let me go back to sharing so you can see because Robbins has the innards. Those innards,
Innards.
the innards, the tools inside. Yeah, like, I could see those kind of breaking. And in fact, it looks like one of Robbins is broken. And I could see somebody like very easily saying, well, the nail scissors and whatnot, the tweezers aren't staying in there, so I'll use it for sewing tools. Needles and what
You
stuff. So
know,
I
you
feel
know,
like,
I'm actually really glad what we don't see in here, when you're talking about like the grooming. I'm glad we don't see an earwax spoon.
I was looking through some of my little implements today and I was like, okay, everything appears to be ear spoon free. I don't have anything that's, dig around an ear with. Um, Although I do have an oddball thing that I found while I was looking for something else, and I'm like, gonna have this out tonight because maybe it appears to be broken off of something, but perhaps you or Dawn or somebody watching tonight might have some idea. So, um, okay,
Poor
that was
Robin.
moving on.
Robin's like, I didn't even think about that. Oh my, that's
So,
tiny.
um, oh yeah, your little video. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we probably want to talk about sewing boxes and sets a little more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Um,
have I have a couple of items to
I
share.
I do too. Let me just can I just say in the first page there of the sewing sets, 155. I do not have a single one of these shoes. Now,
The shoes, I know. The shoes are
like,
so awesome.
can we just like talk for a second about
Yes, the shoes.
like why are so many sewing things related to shoes? Like
Oh, I guess
was this the beginning of women's like major obsession with shoes?
maybe, but also, I mean, shoes are they were pretty, you know? I mean, like, um, the shoes of the wealthy were very pretty. And no, I mean, shoes are just like a charming thing.
Well, like I told you when we were talking about scissors, one of the things on my like wish list is a
This,
shoe scissor set.
yeah, and I still can't quite wrap my head around what that looks like.
Oh my God, it's really cool. Um, Dawn, I'm sure Dawn has a picture that she can send to you. It's I forget someone had posted about them, I think, in her Facebook group like a year or two ago, and I had messaged her and was like, "Tell me what this witchcraft is." And she found a pair for me for sale on like eBay or something, but it looked like poop compared to the one that someone was showing. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm on the hunt now. I've never come across one." Um, but it's on my list and now I need to have these shoes as well. I
Yeah, I mean
just need all the shoes.
just fantastic. And like that one in the middle that she's got flipped over and you could see
Mhm.
it's almost it's literally almost got like what appears to me to be like an actual shoe heel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I even
But
like the one in the close up here where on the bottom is
I and the
the
bottom's
needle
a
holder.
pin keep and then how clever. I mean, and maybe that's part of the like the draw of using a shoe is because it has aspects like that. It's pretty, it can have ribbons and things. It's a receptacle, and then you've got the heel that could come off. I mean, it's kind
I
of a
mean, wouldn't it
perfect.
be
It lends
cute? I
itself.
mean, I'm saying this like I'm gonna like invent this, but I'm sure it probably exists somewhere. Wouldn't it be cute, this one with the heel, if like the heel was like the thimble holder? Like it opened up and out came your like thimble or something like that. I'm sure Dawn's gonna be like, and here's 25 examples of that. You're not thinking of new and interesting things. She also said that shoe obsession goes back centuries. Um, I, I don't know why I just like didn't notice. Like I feel like someone out there must have this like incredible collection of just sewing shoe related things because a lot of people, often will like specialize something in their collection. I can't narrow any of that down. I just have to have everything. So when people
Yeah,
go,
I have to
what
say, I
does your
mean,
collection focus on? Me. It focuses on me and the things that I
me
want.
and all the things I like. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's kind of how my collections are. And it's why I have a lot of some things and not much of others because I'm like, there's things I like. Um, what was I gonna say? I mean, I have the penchant for the shoe pin cushions. So I feel like
Mhm.
it's, I mean, I don't know what it is about them, you know? They're just so charming.
They're very charming.
Um, so on 156, we're kind of getting into the smaller things. The like the little bullet or little tiny cases.
Mhm.
So I have a bunch of these and see my pasty hand. These look
It
like
was
they're
better when you put your hand in front of the item. That was kind of neat.
So
It's
these are
like
very cool.
tie-dye.
Yeah, it's a technique where it's just like when like marbling paper.
Yeah.
They dip these things in. These two look I almost identical. I'm gonna drop one. And I have one that actually belonged to my great aunt, and it's saved away somewhere. But one of these is German and one is Austrian.
Oh.
So so they are imports, but this one just has the needle, like some needles in it, but this one I
Hmm.
think still has all the innards. So yeah. Um, so Dawn has ones in her book that are advertising, and I actually have an advertising one to show in a second, but you see like how the needle, like I mean the thimble like came off, and that's actually an interesting thimble because it's really long. And then you've got this little doodad with the thread, and then it's supposed to have, yeah, it's supposed to have like needles or like
Hmm.
a um
Dawn says she's
safety
seen those
safety pins in
added
there.
to a beaded necklace and they look great.
Oh. Yeah, actually the one that belonged to my great aunt actually had a hole in it.
Hmm.
And I think the hole might have been for a tassel because I have one and I couldn't find it. It's in some stuff, but it had a little tassel on the end of it. Um, and so anyway, I think that these were like another one of those like cheap import kind of things that lots of people had.
Hmm.
This is another one. It's just a red one.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't think I have, I might have one or two of those, but I don't have many of
yeah,
them.
I feel like these are really easy to find. Oh, this one just has the thimble in it. But I have an actual advertising one, and it's not that old, but it's for the Eagle Inn in Ephraim, Wisconsin. And
That
you
one
see the
almost looks
Eagle.
like it's just one of those like wooden needle cases.
Well, it's
Like
plastic.
spare needles when you bought spare needles.
Uh-huh.
It looks like one
Yeah,
of
it's
those.
plastic though, and it really I was kind of excited as I pulled it out because it really kind of um I mean it's really the way Dawn described, like, you know, it comes out and
Hmm.
then there's needles in there, that would have gone in this little hollow thing. Um, but yeah, I love these. They're pretty easy to find, and usually not terribly expensive.
Hmm.
And the one that I had that was driving me crazy that I couldn't find it's a I want to say it's some type of distillery. It's some type of like alcohol. I also had this one that I forgot I had, and I suspect this is not terribly old. It's painted with like, I guess it's supposed to be cattails or bamboo or something.
Hmm.
And this one is very much like what Dawn described as far as how this one's missing the thimble, but it's wooden. And so it's got the little wooden thing. And then this little cap comes off.
Hmm.
And then and I think there are actually some needles in here. Yep, there are some needles in there. So, just these itty bitty little things, and they're so charming. There's something in there. Sometimes you find things you never knew were in
Is it
there.
like a message in a bottle?
I always am like thinking to myself, what if I find something cool? What if I
Hmm.
find, like, and yeah, haven't found it yet.
I'm
Um,
do you have more of those to show?
no, I mean, it's like all of those with the exception of this one advertising one. I mean, I feel like all the ones I have are imported,
Hmm.
but lots of cool stuff was made here in the US. And I really love these paper, like these little kind of homey paperboard ones. Um, they're just cute, you know?
Hmm.
So,
On 157 on the bottom here, these leather sewing sets with thread spools. Um, I have one that's actually currently in my shop.
oh,
If anyone's looking
yes.
for one, this is also leather. It's very similar to like the two center ones Dawn has in here, but this one is far more well loved than the one she has in there. This a lot of this leather is super soft and worn off.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's right. I've seen this one before.
yeah, you've seen this one. I've got like a really pretty picture of it that you see floating around my instant. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff now. And then we open up and we've got this, and it's got a cute little emery. It's missing the thimble, but so I just popped the little emery into where the thimble goes. But
Oh.
it is so you can see what the leather looked like, because it is a well-loved set, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was in somebody's pocket for years.
yeah, yeah. Somebody's sweaty pocket. Like,
No,
but
I
it's
think those are, I like those. The on page 157, there's those two red ones.
mhm,
I think those were really cool.
I really like the red one on the very top right. It's on in the left of the picture with the, I don't, what is that, like a red, like satin, I don't know, wrapped around a card there, something like that. That one's nice and big. I don't have
Yeah,
one like
yeah.
that. There are a lot of things in these chapters I don't have. That's for sure.
Oh, and here's the other thing, and this is where so I'm gonna hold this one up, just the sewing companion.
Yep.
And I'm presuming that this right here, having trouble there. This right here is a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's what it looks like to me. Unless Dawn's gonna
And
tell us it's the portal to Narnia or something. Like, I hope
and
so.
then when we get to, and of course we've got chatelaines next, but when we get to sewing, like sewing baskets and things, and these boxes, they also have mirrors. And I have seen these things. And in fact, I have like a little tiny sewing kit that has a mirror in it. And I was kind of like, huh, well, I guess it falls in line with, that sometimes they have little, manicure implements in their stuff. And, in the mirror, you just need to make sure your eyebrows look okay. It never freaking occurred to me that the mirrors were often for reflecting light.
It's so funny. I wrote the same note. Like, mind blown. Get out of here. Yeah, Dawn said metal reflective, but not glass mirrors.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So it was a metal mirror.
but yeah, I
Yeah,
was
and I
like,
mean,
wow, how much sense does that make?
duh. And even the clamps, I think there's some of the clamps that
Mm-hmm.
that we'll see in here that had like a little reflective thing too.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I mean, today we can just pull another lamp over, turn the light on, get out our beautiful, expensive daylight lamps. um, People, I mean, not even that long ago, simply didn't have like good lighting. So if you're sewing at
Mm-hmm.
night,
Mm-hmm.
that would have helped. So that
But
was
and
some
here's where
interesting learning.
where my rainbow comes in, like the more you know.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was a big one for me to learn. All right, so shall we look at chatelaines?
Let's do it. I
Share
have
my
to
screen.
say, before you even, like, while you're doing that, I I had seen some with like the ribbons. I never knew that the ribbon ones were for being around your neck. Not in a million years. I
Yeah, and
actually
I do remember when I first got Dawn's book, I remember reading this section and reading that and going, oh yeah, so like they drape over and would have stuff on both ends.
I always
But
thought
that,
the
that made sense
ribbon
to me.
was you somehow tied it to your clothing. Like, because it's not like women's clothing didn't have 18,000 other places that things had to tie. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, wow, around
Um,
your neck. Interesting. So on the screen, this is from my collection. Um, that was the one where I was like, I better take some pictures of that, because trying to hold that up to the camera is going to be a clinkly nightmare.
yeah, and
And
these are
Dawn
just
said with regards to the ribbon ones, some ribbons could be worn on the waist like pinballs.
yeah. And she's also got a note in here that the style without rings was pinned to the bodice.
Mm-hmm. So
But
sadly, there's no thimble that goes with this. There's also no scissors that go with the scissor holder there. Um, but it's otherwise, and the thing on the end there, the cap. I think I have another picture where like just the cap screws off to hold needles, or I mean, it's pretty big. You could probably put a note or something in there if you needed to. if you were using your maid to pass secrets to someone else.
Ooh.
And then I love
Um,
the clasp.
yeah, so I can't remember now if you have a picture of what the back of the clasp looks like. I don't think so. But is it like just a hook, like would hook over?
I think I thought I sent a picture of the back.
Did you?
Maybe you
Let me
didn't
see
have
if I
it, but yeah,
remember.
it's just a hook. Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, you did. Um, yeah, okay. And so it looks like on, yeah, where did I see it? Oh, yeah, page 162. It's got a similar kind of hook that it looks like it kind of hinges.
Yeah, I would imagine like, just at the waist, it just kind of sits in there and then kind of just
Hmm.
the way clothing was made, it just would hold it in there because it's
Yeah.
it's not short, it's
Hmm.
long. That's a
Yeah, well,
good
it makes
way
sense. I mean,
to
you've got the
put
pressure of
it
your body against your waistband, and it
in.
would just, I mean, like a cell phone holder.
Back back when every man in town had one of those on his belt clip.
Look at your chatelaine. Let's take some scissors from that. Um,
Off the top of
yeah,
my head, I don't even remember where I got this. I'd have to like look it up somewhere.
so then that's where the thimble goes in, right? And that's like a velvety
Mm-hmm.
kind of.
Mm-hmm. Little bucket. Yeah, they're
Mhm,
all kind of like a velvet. Like I don't think
mhm.
yeah, it's like a velvet line. And then
And
yeah,
there's the thing you
pinky.
said was a monk screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
It's just
thing.
so, I mean, it's beautiful that like, I mean, it's a repose type of treatment on the metal.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
these
for
are kind of
those,
like these are like watch fob clips. So I guess that's just kind of a common
yeah.
clip of the time that they
Yeah,
would
and
use
did you
on
see,
jewelry.
and obviously you saw the one in here on 162 where it's that little metal purse, the metalwork purse that you like
Yes, and we
on those
ran
clips.
into one of those when we were out in Pennsylvania
At
shopping, and it
least, I
was,
mean, we ran into at least one. We probably ran into a lot more because like I
oh,
feel like those are not
we
rare.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
see
did
those
run
all the
into a
time.
bunch, but there, I feel like I picked one up that looked
You
exactly
did.
like that. I don't think it had the chain. It was just, but I remember picking it up, and it's so tiny and cute. It would just be for just like, I don't know, like I guess you just put a little bit of money in there. I don't know what really you kept in a reticule. I mean, like your driver's license, some chapstick. That's what I'd keep in there.
I mean, if only we
Um,
could go back to when purses were that tiny.
right, yeah.
They
So this
didn't
is a
they didn't
lovely
need to
thing.
carry around things like Aquanet.
So let me go back. So now we're on to sewing baskets.
Hmm.
So I um I have a number of baskets, like all kinds of different things.
Hmm.
I have a sweetgrass basket. Not like the ones in here, but like the sweetgrass that the Gullah people do in South Carolina.
Hmm.
But it's a sewing basket. And then I have just those like, again, ubiquitous Japanese woven sewing baskets. But what I wanted to show, and I guess it falls in line with sewing boxes, although my grandmother only used it for thread. So I kind of like, I maybe should have showed it during thread, but this was my grandmother's.
Hmm.
And um, I'm pretty sure my mom said she got it like as maybe a wedding shower gift or a wedding gift.
Hmm.
And so it's the tiered, sewing kit. And she always used it for whatever reason for thread. That was
Hmm.
all that was ever in it was thread. And see, lifetime is worth of thread in there. Probably some thread in here. I was like, I definitely know some of this thread's older than me. Some of it's probably older than my mother. Um, one of the little doodads, these little things is broken. I can't remember. It kind of just sits in there, but I mean, you could see lots of
Hmm.
thread. Um, but this is like a prized possession of mine. When my grandmother passed away, my mom, took her sewing machine and some other things, and I was like, I get this. If you want to fight me for it, anybody's welcome to fight me. You will lose because I'm getting this. Um, but I feel like the ones I see of these today are imported. And like the ones I see of like are it's I don't know if it's like they're Scandinavian. And I don't know if this is like a Scandinavian thing or if they just happen to be the ones that produce this now, but it doesn't have this does not oh wait a minute. I lie. I'm getting ready to lie. I said it doesn't have any markings, but it does. And I can't read that, but it looks so this was made in Yugoslavia. That is interesting because I mean I know my grandmother had this since like the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
anyway.
definitely have a couple of much smaller ones. They're really cute and petite. I'm pretty darn sure they're Japanese.
Mhm.
And then I have a bigger one. Um, I don't know that I ever looked at markings on that one. It doesn't look like yours. It's a different kind of
Mhm.
wood. Um, I do have mm, not very handy some of the actual like baskets. And definitely I do have one or two of the Native American type ones. Um, I I don't have any that kind of already have these like sewing things in them. Like they're just baskets. By the time I'm
Mhm.
getting them, they could be baskets for literally anything. Um,
Right, yeah. Um
anything, any of these remnants of like definitely being used for sewing were long removed by the time that I got to them. And I do have
right.
on 163 a couple of the little pin cushions. I
I
do.
have like one of those little woven and it's not in good shape. It's got like one of the little edges is broken.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that definitely doesn't hold up well because it can be like easily like crushed,
Mhm.
in things. But I really wish I had like some of these baskets here on 163 where you can see like things to hold sewing implements
Mhm.
literally kind of woven into the basket somehow.
Well, the one on 166, that even it looks like it's an even bigger basket that has all of those little baskets on the inside
Yeah,
of it. I was
that's
like,
cool.
those are cool.
Or
And
the
they're like a different weave.
or next to it that has the thread spools
Hmm.
um
Yeah,
standing up there. This other one, this basket carved of ivory.
I know, right?
Good Lord.
And I mean, it's a good size. I mean,
Mm.
it's
Yeah, that I kind of like how it's got that like spool holder like right in the center there.
hmm hmm
That one's very,
Yeah,
very
I think some of this
interesting.
stuff is so ingenious. And I mean, I know same thing when we get to the clamps, but I'm like, they thought about, what was necessary, right? Um, what would be helpful? It's helpful to have your pin cushion on the top. And there's
Hmm.
so many of them that have that. Um, the ones that are on page 170 with the secret compartments, I'm like, oh, you can keep your secret
Okay.
love letters in there.
So Dawn, I hope you're taking notes here. On 169,
Oh,
this on the top, the box you have, like with the doors that like open out and like things can like the doors can like slide out of it and stuff. That's now on the wish list. As soon as I saw that, I'm literally like typing around here, like trying to find, I couldn't find one for sale online. That is really cool. I like how
the
everything like slides out of that. It's almost like to me, it almost seems like sewing box meets doll furniture.
I know it does. It has that sort of like doll furniture vibe, that little doll.
And I don't collect doll furniture like others do, but I can certainly appreciate some of when I mean doll furniture, I mean the bigger stuff. I feel like by the time
Mhm.
doll furniture was around for my age, it was much smaller than that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm getting on board with that one with the doors. Or if you feel like parting with yours.
I mean, it's been in a book, Dawn. I mean, do you really need
Yeah.
it anymore? Um, now
These
so on, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say these other really ornate sewing boxes. I don't actually think I have one.
Mm.
I have one that She said page 169 might be arranged for you. Well, 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 everybody witnessed it
Ooh.
here first. No takesy
Indeed.
backsies. There is a sewing box. I should have nabbed a picture of it, but there is a sewing box for sale at a antique store that I frequent, that has a ton of sewing stuff. If anybody follows my business page, you will see me post come shopping with me reels all the time that shows the store. I'm sure if I showed pictures, Steph, you would know exactly where I'm talking about. So would Dawn.
Hmm.
They've had a really ornate box with a lot of tools still in it, because usually you get these boxes and
Ooh.
then they're
Hmm.
empty. Um, and it's got very ornate, like a painting on it or something. The dealers had it for sale at least a year or two. It's probably priced too high. So every time I go, I'm always watching it. Like, has it gone on sale? Or this store often
Hmm.
has a sale in the winter.
Hmm.
I'm always kind of keeping my eye on it. I've obviously not kept my eye enough to like say, can you make an offer to this dealer? But I'm always just kind of keeping one eye
Yeah.
open for that.
Ask them to take it out for you and you pet it.
I haven't
You'll
done
be
that. Because
you'll be mine soon, my sweet.
yeah, I haven't asked them to take it out because it would be, I'd get in trouble. It would be hard.
Yeah.
Um,
So I have a question. That needs
but
if
Dawn said that boxes like that haunt you if you let them go. Ask me how I know. Arlene, my business page isn't on Facebook. It's on Instagram. Um, and I'll type it in the chat here. And then it also has a YouTube page that you can see those reels on if you're not on Instagram. And it's JA Antiques and Vintage. And then on Instagram or on YouTube here. Um, Go ahead, Steph.
so my question, um, so on 171, you see that piece of furniture,
Mm-hmm.
like the sewing furniture, and I
Yep.
know you have a couple of
I have a
larger
few.
things.
Yeah, maybe we should arrange at some
Um,
point to take pictures of those.
yeah. So I know that you, in some cases, could get the piece of sewing furniture that like matched your actual furniture, right? I'm wondering, and this is flipping back to chatelaines and the I guess it's just chatelaines. Where else is the other thing? Yeah. So on page 162, if you look at the clip for that little bag, that little reticule, it's got that look like silverware, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Hold on. 162.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
The little clip, it's got that like ornate end that you're like, oh, that looks like the ends of the spoons and the forks. Does it just happen to look like that, or could you also get these types of items that would match your silver?
Hmm. Well, I mean,
Um,
it says right in here the clips are bought separately.
mhm.
So if you were buying the clips from the same person that was producing silverware, I don't know, Don, what's your way in? It seems plausible to me.
It seems plausible to me that, yeah, probably the same silversmiths that would produce silver plated, dining silver would maybe also be the same people that produce some of these sewing gadgets, and chatelaines. But like, could you get it to match your silver? Like the same print?
Hmm. In terms of when you were mentioning the sewing table matching furniture, Don said Martha Washington sewing tables were sometimes made by furniture companies in a few styles. I actually have more than one style of Martha Washington. I have the Martha Washingtons that open like this at the top, and then I
Mhm.
have one where that whole drum at the side opens up like this. And then she said, yes, the silver companies also made sewing sets, some gift boxed.
Okay. I thought that was the case. It was just a guess, but I was just like, surely, you know. And when you say Martha Washington, like what exactly do you mean by that?
The Martha Washington cabinets are, I don't actually think there's one in here, is there?
Yeah, I was when I don't remember seeing
The Martha
anything that
Washington ones are the ones that are like they're square and they got 3 drawers, and then there's like this
Mhm.
rounded edge on each side that has
Mm,
top that opens up like this to put
okay.
like yarn or something in. Oh, Martha isn't in the book because she's after
Oh.
1920.
It looks nothing like Martha Washington sewing table.
Um,
Well, you slap Washington on anything,
yeah, I was gonna say, exactly what Martha Washington tables are. You just
I'm
aren't
sure I
sticking
do.
with it.
I'm sure I do. I just didn't know that um that's what they were called. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So flipping forward to the I mean some of these boxes are just like so stunning to me. Again on 170, the two at the bottom that have the secret compartments. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
always enamored of anything. A jewelry box, a doodad box, a sewing box has a secret compartment. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this other thing at the top, the sewing box with this open center, and it's assembled with square head nails. I mean, that's like pretty heckin' old. And this was kind of the examples of like what I'm saying, like some of these things, probably, were cabinet makers and things were mass producing them, but these ones that have these like very specific like configurations. It's almost like, I know what my love wants and I'm going to make her this this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing. Or I, as a cabinet maker, woodworker, happen to have heard what women really want. And so these things are so very specific. They're not just a box with a bunch of compartments,
Mm-hmm.
but they're so specific. And I just love that. I think that's so cool.
Um, if we move on to 173 here, we're talking about shaker
Mhm.
stuff.
The shakers, yes, and that was the next thing that I wanted to. The
I
shakers.
had I had a question here for Dawn. On the second section of writing here, the second to last paragraph, in the discussion about Shakler poplar sheets, Dawn, you say that there's blah, blah, blah. The seams of the outer edges were bound in kid leather. What is kid leather?
It's baby goat leather.
Really? Is that what that is?
Yeah, kid leather is typically goat leather, and it's very, very soft.
Oh, I
It's
thought
like like
leather, I thought
lambskin.
leather was only cows.
Mm-mm. Goat
Oh,
leather is actually gloves, I think, are often lambskin or goat leather because they're so, so soft.
well,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
she said baby goat skin. Nope. Here I was thinking
Hmm.
all leather was moo cow. So I'm
Hmm.
like, what's kid leather? Is that like leather that's only for kids? Like, what does that mean? She said they were also using it for gloves, yeah. Yep.
Yep.
There you go.
But so back to the shakers. I was very surprised at this first section on the shakers with these pretty little boxes, the pink and
Mm-hmm.
blue on page 175,
Mm-hmm.
173, I'm sorry. I when I think of shakers, I think of what's on the next page. Those oval shaped boxes that have the fingers,
Mm-hmm. The
they look like straps.
fingers.
Well, that's what I think that's what they were called. That's
I'm
how
not
she
gonna
described them.
unsee that now.
But I think that isn't that how she described them? Let's see, sewing boxes. Yeah, yes, the finger sides.
But I don't think of it like that. So like hearing you say it, I'm just gonna be like, look at that box with fingers. Like
Yes, Yukamo. Yes, there is pig leather too.
there's pig
Um,
leather,
what footballs? Why do you think they're called the pig
but
skin?
everybody calls them pig skin, so I don't think of them as like pig
Because
leather.
they were made. So I think so. Typically, your grown-up animals have the tougher leather. This, the leather is tougher. Like you would
So
make.
wait, is all skin leather?
Hmm. Yeah, all skin that has been processed to be leather is leather.
So
You can even
if
have
we
fish leather. Really?
are you picking something up that's fish leather?
No, I just dropped something.
Oh, Don says there's shark skin leather too.
Yeah, yeah, shark leather. Yeah, there's all kinds of
She
leathers.
also said
Hmm.
the wood boxes were easier to reproduce and label shaker, and poplar was hard and labor intensive.
Hmm.
All Robin said all skin can be leather, even mine.
So leathery.
I mean, there's definitely Frog. Kellen said frog leather.
Well,
Y'all are just being silly now.
You work with what you've got. Am I right?
Robin goes, yes, Jill, even yours.
But yeah, I think it, again, I'm no leather like like expert, but I know lambskin. I have a lambskin jacket. It's very soft. And kid leather, definitely kid leather gloves. Shoes, I think are often going to be cow or pig because they're thicker, you know. Yeah, fashion leathers, alligator snake. Yeah. You learned something today, didn't you?
I learned that even I can aspire to have my skin be leathery.
Um, back to sewing boxes. Um, so yeah, the shakers. And you know what? We saw some, and I don't know if they were, I'm saying they were shaker style stuff at the Lancaster Lebanon
Oh,
quilt show.
yeah, that vendor's a like a repro.
Yeah, I remember seeing shaker in there, and they were very expensive, but that's like there aren't really shakers around anymore, are they? I mean, they don't. If I
Not that.
remember correctly, the shakers were celibate, so when people weren't continuing to join their
Mhm.
cause, they died out because there were no children born in the shaker faith. Like you had to join as an adult because
Mhm.
they were celibate. If I remember my shaker lore. But yeah, I mean I know that the oval shaped boxes and baskets are very collectible and
Mhm.
yeah, I remember I think my mom had maybe one.
Shakers are
No,
all
shakers are all
retired
retired now.
now, but some of the colonies are open for
Hmm.
tours. I like
Yeah.
that. The Shakers are retired. No more shaking
Um,
things up.
yeah. Now, the other thing that I think is fascinating, and we saw a ton of them in Pennsylvania. None of them were good though, because I think a lot of it was like reproduction kind of stuff. But the tramp art boxes that have the little
Mhm.
chip work,
There's
those
why.
are,
Oh my God, there were so many.
and none of them were like these. I mean, these are clearly old, handmade, very,
I feel like none of them were
unique
meant to be
looking.
sewing boxes. I
No,
feel like a
everything
lot of
we
them are
saw,
just
I feel
boxes.
like was either literally like I picked up one thinking I was like looking, I'm like, this is made out of resin. This is like that Enesco resin stuff.
Hmm.
And then the rest of them were just like really clearly reproduction of, supposed to look like this, but they were not.
Hmm.
Um, and that disappointed me because I think these things are so cool.
I don't know that I've ever, no, wait, I know I've seen at least one that was actually a sewing box, but man, was it beat up. Like you could only tell, like it, instead of actually how like when like on velvet pincushions and the velvet, wears away, you can still tell it was a pincushion. This one, like the outside was worn away, the inside was worn away, like it was just like the pincushion's soul was left there in like somewhat of a deflated shape. And the box was just trash. I actually wonder if potentially it had been the victim of like water damage or something, like
Yeah.
in someone's
Yeah.
basement. It looked like I have.
Like it had been,
Did someone literally pick this out of the trash to put
drop
in these
kick it.
groups? Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but those little pinch purse kind of little
Mm-hmm.
pinch pouches.
Mm-hmm.
I loved those, making those as a kid. Like that was a craft to make as a kid. Like a Girl Scout craft or something. But the one on page 180 that is literally like a sewing bag. Gets,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess based on the and you know what? This was in Pat Nichols. This is at the Minge. I think I knew I'd seen that before. Um, but based on the dimensions, I mean, this thing's like 10 inches. So we're talking like this thing's big. This thing's as big as a football, like just about. Um, and and that the crazy cool. I mean, like just how cool, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I'm assuming that it's just based on the exact same kind of, crafting as the little ones. It's just a bigger pieces of like cardboard or pasteboard or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just so cool. Let's see, Jen just said the tiered box on page 172.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah,
very,
and
very good.
that's so those, And I feel like with the thread things at the very beginning of the book, right? Didn't we see? I'm trying to think if there was. I'm flipping through here real quick. I think if Dawn has any. Yeah. Okay. The thread stanza boxes. I'm just gonna flash this
Yep.
real quick.
Yep. In the beginning.
What is the deal with those little finials on every corner?
What about them?
Well, I mean, they are clearly, so I mean, looking at the box on 172, they're clearly not like you can't like slip a spool of thread over them.
No, it's
Maybe
my understanding they're decorative.
okay. So I mean, they are truly decorative, but like, what a weird thing to have so many of them all over.
Well, and you know what stinks too is when you're looking at one that's really awesome, and sometimes those finials are like made out of special stuff and they're broken or missing.
Yeah. Well, that's the
And
thing. I mean, this definitely looks like that this kind of thing that it would be easy to break those off, you know,
oh
moving
yeah.
it around or so they are
Oh,
functional, keeping the layers on.
oh, they
Okay.
actually they keep the box together. Is
Hmm.
what
Okay.
you mean, right? The layers of the box,
Mm-hmm.
but not functional in the sense of putting thread on it,
Yeah,
right?
it's not right. Hmm.
I mean, especially like those finials on the one on 172, those finials are huge. The boxes that you were
Exactly.
showing stuff, those finials were a lot smaller.
Yeah, those were yeah, yes, you're right. Those are smaller. They're kind of more like a little, I don't know. When I look at these, they always remind me of those temples, like
Yeah.
them like in the Tibetan mountainsides and they're or I don't know,
Well, that, it's
wherever
even
they
kind
are.
of like the Taj Mahal, like has
And
like
they have like all those little
mhm.
whatever you
I
call
know
those
what you're
little
talking
things.
about. I know what you're talking about. We're gonna have
All
to
right.
cruise along here though, because we're already at
Yes, I
9
know.
and we haven't even looked
I
at
just saw.
clamps. Like
We got to get to clamps.
a
Oh.
we've got a problem.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do the needlework show, right?
Yeah. The
Needlework tool
largest
show.
box, the posts are the corner pieces and it's all one piece. Oh, well, that's interesting. That is interesting.
All right, so I know this is is this your picture? I'm sure. No,
That
this
is
is Dawn's.
mine. Yep, that is mine.
Okay.
That's a clamp from the shop that is
Hmm.
pretty darn close to the one Dawn has here on
On page
184.
184. Hmm.
Um,
Now the
with
one
my,
in the book is brass. Is yours brass with like a patina on it, or is it some other type of metal?
I
I mean,
haven't cleaned it
it
up.
looks really, really close to the one that
Yeah,
is in
I
here
haven't
that Dawn has
cleaned
in
it
here.
up. It does have like it needs a good cleaning. The other thing is I haven't found Dawn, you don't say here the one you have on 184, it just says it was patented August 19th, 1902. But is that patent actually on is that date actually on the clamp itself? Because I was looking on mine and I just thinking maybe I might find a date on it. I didn't. However, like I said, it does need some cleanup. Um,
Here
there
it
it is
is
on my lovely
in
table
use.
on my sleeping porch.
Because I don't know that if I've seen one of these out in the wild, I don't think I realized what it was.
I did not. It had to be pointed out to me. The
Mhm.
patent number is on the clamp on mine. Okay, cool. I'll definitely have to look harder then.
So yeah, I thought these were really interesting.
They're
Um,
very interesting. I was actually with Dawn when I bought this.
okay.
Um
So yeah, you were
and at
this.
first kind of was looking at it oddly. And she was actually the one that's like, "Oh no, that does blah 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 blah," blah. And I was like, "Well, that's cool." So
Mhm. It's pretty cool. Now back into the book on page 184. The other clamp that is on here that I think is wild is
the one in the middle.
the one in the middle that's got like 1856 and the initials KW.
That is so cool.
Yes, and I mean this is again one of those things where like I assume a blacksmith made this. It was custom made for somebody. And this is one of those like the woman was like, okay, I'm gonna need a place for some bobbins. I'm gonna need a place to put like maybe another spool of thread. I'm gonna need the clip. I'm gonna need the pin cushion, and I'm gonna need my initials on this because I don't want my sister stealing it. It's like, and it's like a crazy looking contraption because it's got all of these like little bits and
Yeah, it
pieces on
almost
it. But
is like this really crazy like weather vane. And they're like, if a
yeah,
weather vane could be a sewing clamp.
Um, and then the wooden clamps. Now this was interesting where she said about the two different pin cushions. One, I guess to stick your needle in as you're working, and then or as you finish with them, they're use up all the thread, and then one for the newly threaded ones.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard that before, and like, duh, that makes a lot of sense. So, if you're sewing something where you're going to constantly be needing newly threaded needles.
Don was just saying, so true. I can just imagine the conversation, and he's thinking, for sure she'll marry me now.
I made her this dang contraption.
Or Don, it's the fact that, look, I married you, so now you're gonna make this for me. I'm putting up with your snoring at night, so I need this.
So now on page 188, the on 189, the bone and ivory ones.
Wait.
I'm sorry. What I skipped?
187. If you can go back to not sharing, I have one.
Oh, yes, I know this. Yes,
Yeah.
I do know this.
I have one of these little suckers that I got a little while ago.
That's right. And I called it the croquet mallet.
Yep. The pincushion is still really, really nice. This is actually Dawn's fault that I bought this one. I was looking at something else for her and investigating a piece for her, and then was like, what's this piece? And then it came home with me. This is a piece for the shop. It's just not listed on the store. So if you really like this, like, let me know. On the front here, even though it's kind of worn, it says thine forever. But yeah, it totally has a piece like a croquet mallet. And the thing that I love is like the screw and everything is all metal. And I don't know if I can get a close up enough.
Oh, you mean wood?
Wood. I'm sorry, wood. I don't know. I find that really fascinating that someone was like the precision that you need. And I am not that creative. So
well, and the interesting thing about these wooden screw things, they break it very easily for one thing. So I think my guess is that you're gonna find metal sewing birds or sewing clamps much easier than you're gonna find ones that have the wooden piece. But I have this pile of it's like dollhouse furniture-y type of bits and pieces. I got it at an estate sale with a bunch of other stuff. And in it, there is a turned screw, like a wooden turned screw. And I'm wondering if it was for something like this.
Oh.
I mean, it could have been for anything, but the fact that it was carved and I was like, oh, this is,
well, and don't forget too, here on 186, there's one there with your mirror.
Yes. Well,
I do actually, now that I think about it, I do next to that one, the one that's like got a little drawer. I have one like that. I just think it's a little more repro than we're looking at here. But
that is really cute.
You can move on to bone and ivory now.
Yeah, so bone and ivory, those are just amazing. And that whale one, oh my gosh, how cool. I saw it was in an auction, and I want to say that it was from the UK, but it was like a lot of these like bone and ivory.
Probably from the UK, because like, have you seen the cool crap they have over there?
And I remember just watching the auction, like, real quick, I'll show you what I have. What? It's a reproduction.
Oh. I was gonna say, you've been hiding that from me this whole time?
Yeah, it is. No, it is absolutely is a reproduction. It is by Lacey's, and Lacey's is a lace museum and shop in San Francisco. And they made, and I assume they're still open, I honestly don't know, but they made a lot of like reproduction type of lace and lace making tools, and for whatever reason they had these. And so I got one.
I feel like I actually
it comes in this tacky presentation box that's got so much lint on it. I can't get it off. Like I was like trying to but this lovely presentation box. And it has the history in here, although I think it did give the same Charles Waterman, 1853. As the
hey,
guy,
at least it attributes things correctly. Dawn said that the whale one, the ivory, she tried to buy it, but it wasn't for sale.
And the guy was like, over my dead body. I'm assuming Tex Johnson is a man. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Tex Johnson, no, female.
Oh, really?
And
That's pretty awesome.
recently passed
Oh,
in like the last year, I believe. I met her once at a Penn's show.
oh, I wish I was from Texas so I could be named Tex. Was she from Texas?
I don't know. She's a friend of Don's. I
I
met
just love that. I
I
love
think
that
I
name.
met her once.
Maybe it's short for something, but well, what a bummer.
Mhm.
Um, so let's go back to viewing because there's some of Dawn's cool pictures of more
And
clamps.
if the video will show of my clamps, there is a bone,
Yeah,
there's a bone one in there.
yeah, I'll jump back to that. So yeah, here's a version that's kind of similar to mine. Mine doesn't have the little thing on its back, but
She
it's
was
kind of
a
similar
Tex
to
was a
mine.
Pennsylvania dealer stuff.
Oh, well, Tex must be short for something cool. Um, well, let me go back to this one for a sec. Um, I have to say, this is another tool that, although I have not used mine as such, I have done things like pinned fabric to my jeans to keep it taut as
Mm-hmm.
I'm sewing, because for hemming or for hand sewing really long stretches, you would not believe how helpful this is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things that if you know, you know. This is definitely a needlework tool that I think is still useful today. If you have one that's, in good enough shape, that's not, damaged in any way that you would harm it by using it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say they are a useful tool. This was, I thought was cool. The Don said we could share this. I guess these belong to
Yeah,
Madge
all
Ziegler.
these pictures are shared with permission, even if they're not
Mm-hmm.
from Dawn herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Don's got them watermarked with the people they belong to. But this one is the clamps that are used to hold together a quilt frame. And
I've
you and I
actually never
saw,
seen these like used.
yeah, well, you and I saw that frame at that antique
Yep.
place.
Yep.
And there were clamps. They were not pretty like this, but there were
There
clamps
were
with it.
clamps. Was I asleep?
Uh
I don't remember noticing clamps.
no, I mean, we went over and looked at it, and I think both of us were like, huh, those boards are like 10 feet long. They would
Yeah.
never fit in either of our vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they wanted more than $10 for it, which
They wanted a lot more than
we
$10
were
for it.
looking at one in an auction that was like $10. That was worth it. But yeah, I just thought these were so pretty. And
Mm-hmm.
that this is cool how that's just using clamps to hold that together.
And
So it's
it's funny because
easy to take apart.
I'd always wondered like what are these things that are just clamps? Like
Mhm.
how would that be a third hand or so.
Right. Yeah. It was something broken off of it. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
They were for quilters.
Mm-hmm.
And this, so many clamps. I love this. Don sent us this picture the other day, and I was just like, oh, look at all of them.
Man,
Such an amazing picture.
there's so many. Arlene says, I help a hand quilting group nearby that just hand quilts for people as a fundraiser, and they use clamps on their frames. I would like to see pictures of that, Arlene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to tell which of these clamps I need because there are so many.
Yeah, I know these are fantastic. I mean, just the ornateness. And I think that, is it those that are on the end there that are closest to us? Were those ones that yeah. So those two that are closest to us are on page 184, I guess. It's the same ones. And just how interesting and intricate those are. Like that,
Yeah, one of the ones
and
in my
the
video
little,
is like that.
mm-hmm.
The one on the
Yeah, the
very
little
end there.
screw. Yeah, so let's get back to your video to see if we can.
Because that one
See if I
actually
can,
has a piece of fabric in it too.
can I make this like bigger?
Yeah, is it possible to make that big size? Tiny. If I'd known it'd
I
be
know.
so
I don't know.
tiny.
Okay, it's not going to be, the resolution's not great, but oh, there's that beautiful
Yeah,
bone
guys,
one.
this video is off of Instagram. That's on my business Instagram and on the business YouTube as well if you want to see it more close up and stuff. But I had done this little thing to show this sleeve ironing board here. Because what a great way to display your clamps. And I was selling the one that you see all my clamps on here. And that's the one like kind of like Dawn had, where mine's got a pin cushion and a piece of fabric in it. And then there's my little bone one there
Yeah, that
that I
bone one's
love
really cool.
dearly.
All right, so let us move on to crochet, tatting, thread work, crochet, tambour, knitting, tatting, and cording. And
Mhm.
Robin shared with us some pieces of crochet that were done by her grandmother. And I love this one, of course, because as a quilter, I love anything that's a, you know, a star.
Mhm.
And is this an 8-pointed star? Are those 8?
Mhm.
Okay, I don't, no, that's 9.
Oh no, you're right, it's 9.
That's 9. Much easier to do that in crochet, I assume, than it is to piece a 9-pointed star. You got some weird angles if you got to try to piece that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she got a close-ups of the crochet, which I thought was really neat. And then she showed us this one. Now I've seen these like in red and white before, but I love this dimensional thing and these little popcorny things.
Mhm.
Um, I knew that this was pretty popular, like I guess early in the 20th century, like 30s, 40s, maybe these kind of things were very, very popular.
Mhm.
So, okay. And so then Dawn shared with us from some people she knows the crocheted edging on quilts,
Yes.
which I don't know if I've ever seen a quilt in the wild with a crochet edging unless it was new. Now I have seen some new ones, but never
Um,
an old one.
I don't know. If I have, it wasn't so memorable that I'm remembering the edging.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um,
but I mean,
this
that,
one
that
is like some serious, and I'm curious to know, did they use like did it start as like a blanket stitch with a needle and the thread and then they crocheted on top, or are they using a teeny tiny crochet hook to like literally punch through the quilt edge? I'm curious about that. It would not surprise me at all if they were using a teeny little crochet hook, because I happen to have, although I do not crochet, an obscene amount of crochet hooks.
really,
Because oh my god, yeah.
like just because you go out hunting for them on a Saturday night, like,
No, I don't go hunting for
is
them.
it from buying like lots
Yes,
at
just
auction?
yeah, just getting lots at auction, and inevitably there'll be like a bazillion crochet
I
hooks.
have like, it's funny, like when I get lots, I don't ever like end up with those.
Huh.
I love some of these like on 191 up top here, these like sets where you just screw on different hooks onto the base. I like, why don't they make those more today? I feel like most people when they're buying crochet hooks, they're buying an entire hook each time instead of
Mhm.
potentially getting stuff you can change out.
Well, and I
Um
mean, I always think of the change out ones as being like very modern, but you know, boy was making them like way
yeah.
back. I don't
Dawn said blanket stitch, then crochet into the top of the blanket stitch, same
okay.
thread.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wonder. But yeah, I mean, this looks like kind of like a pearl cotton or some type of tatting thread. But my gosh, I mean, that's like some really dense blanket stitch. And then it's so pretty with the little picots. And I love that. And then this one is, I guess, just a little bit more understated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of work, like, oh yeah, you can see the blanket stitch on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, the amount of work, it actually makes me really sad now, like antiquing and things like that, when you see how many, needleworked items, like the tatting and
Mhm.
things that are, this tiny, tiny, tiny crochet and things like that, and people don't value them in the least.
Yeah, I mean, This one, I believe, is a boy. Yes, this is a boy. Can you see how obscenely tiny that is?
Mm-hmm.
This one is a 13.
That is obscenely tiny. I mean, I guess you could
Yeah.
even use it to get earwax out of your ear.
No, I wouldn't stick that in my ear. You puncture
Not
something.
far.
I mean, this is as tiny as, and do I have, I had one I thought here because, oh yeah. Have you ever seen one of those little, I mean, this is tinier than this, and I've always thought this was very small hook. This one is for, if you get like a run in your sweater,
Mm-hmm.
you can, it's a nitpicker. It's like an itty bitty little latch hook. I've always
Mm-hmm.
thought that was itty bitty teeny tiny, but dang man, this thing, I mean, like you could perform surgery with that. Like it's so tiny. Um, oh no, that was not the same one. Most of my metal hooks are boy, BOYE, because I guess because that's the American made one. I have a few that don't have anything on them. They're smooth. Um, it's just nothing is stamped on them. There's
Mm-hmm.
the size, and then the back of it is flat. And then
Mm-hmm.
I found this one I thought was pretty cool. It's got the size on the front. Let's see that. And then you flip it over and it's got this like really interesting little thumb pattern, like, for where your thumb could grip it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have an obscene bunch of bone ones that all
Oh
have
my
these like
goodness.
little pretty little turned ends on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have these other two. Um, Dawn mentioned in here that, oh man, is it one of the ones I just dropped? No, there it is. That some of them sometimes had like a little cover on them. Oh, that wasn't God, I think I dropped it. It's probably under my desk.
I can't take you anywhere.
I know. Well, and anyway, I have one that has a cover on it. Oh, no. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I'm just in suspense over here.
So I didn't even realize I had this. See, so it's just a little, I mean, you can tell it's a crochet hook,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got this like top on it and it comes off. There's a little crochet hook. And it's just like, it's a weird little piece of like folded over metal tube,
Hmm.
and it just, it slides on there.
Going back to the quilts, the Dawn said the quilt was knife edge finished, then the crochet was added right on the quilt, likely a 20 weight thread, and would also work in a machine. And she said their hand quilting was just as uniform as the crochet stitch.
That's pretty, yeah.
I mean, and with impressive things here, like what about 193 here? This lace made with a hairpin.
Yeah, and that's something that I have a bunch of that, and I didn't realize that's what it was.
Oh, you have the lace?
Um, mhm.
Oh, that's
I
neat.
also I also have like yards of tatted, the just basic little tatted stuff that
Mm-hmm.
is, let's see, I want to say she does some here. Um, on page 198, there's that close up of the tatted basic tatting rings. I have miles of that. Oh, on page 199 with that carved tatting shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
That I have miles of that. Like I think that's the beginner tatted lace, and people would just
Mm-hmm.
make miles of it. So one last one with the crochet hooks. This one is bone with a little metal, like an aluminum shaft protector.
Huh.
I guess because they broke so easily. I don't know.
Wow, you got quite the collection there that you didn't mean to
And
collect.
the thing is, I don't crochet. I crochet hooks are useful. I have some like contemporary modern ones. But yeah, like I have tons, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, these are interesting. I have two of these that have, I don't know what the holes are for. They look like something fell out of them, but because I have two and they're exactly the same, maybe they're supposed to be like that. I also have tried tatting once and it was very difficult. But I have a lot of tatting shuttles, and I think tatting is one of those things that people, were like, oh, it's kind of a cheap sort of little craft, right? Like I think tatting shuttles even today are very easy to find and buy, and they're cheap. And then you just have the thread, right? And then you can
Mhm.
make something beautiful with it. And I think people find out how like absolutely like frustrating tatting is. Um, but it's the metal ones have the hook. And I think this one's aluminum, the hook. This one's my favorite because it's celluloid and it's very lightweight.
Mhm.
Um, I just can't even imagine how, it survived. Because
Robin said her maternal grandmother said she loved the look of tatting, but absolutely disliked the process of tatting.
Mhm.
I hear that like there's not very many people that do tatting at all anymore.
There actually is a contemporary tatting book.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it.
Sure she did.
And I want to say it's a Japanese artist, but
Mm-hmm.
so I think, was that everything? Yeah, I think that was all the pictures that Dawn had sent us and Robin sent us, or Robin posted and I stole.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. So on page 199, the very bottom, the brass ring worn as a tension gauge. Does that
Oh
not
yeah,
look
yeah.
exactly like the tension off of a sewing machine that somebody has taken and stuck on a ring?
Yeah, that's true.
Like that is a contraption and a half there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like pretty brilliant if that is what it is, or
Like
if it was
another woman that
manufactured
said to
like
her husband, like, figure out how to put this on a ring for my finger. I want
exactly.
this
Yeah.
ring more than any other ring.
Yeah. That's ingenious though. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And although it's not old, I couldn't help but I have a lucet right on my desk. Why do I have a lucet on my desk? I don't know. It's just in
Because
my
it's your
penthouse.
desk, and on your desk is everything. That's
Indeed,
a
yeah.
really pretty one.
I have double pointed knitting needles in my pencil cup too.
In
Yeah.
your pencil cup.
I have multiple pencil cups. I have one, two, five, I think, four. They're full of things. They're full of tools, pens, pencils. Whenever you see me like doing this, I'm looking for a pen. And inevitably all I have are, straws and paintbrushes and lucets and no pens.
I cannot find a pen to sign this, but may I paint your portrait? Like,
Um, I could scratch it in with this clay carving tool. You know, I realize that we do want to focus on needlework tools, but a pop-up of what is on Cake's desk could be quite interesting.
it could be like I Spy or hidden object.
Yeah. So before we close out here, I wanted to show so as I'm looking for some things today, uh, I came across this. I totally forgot that I love how people of antiquity reused whatever kind of boxes. I have like cool boxes
Mhm.
and they're not sewing related, but they used them to put sewing stuff in. So the
It's
bunion
like the
plasters,
precursor to the cookie tin sewing
the
container.
cookie tin or the Altoids tin. Who doesn't
Yeah.
have an Altoids tin with something in it that was useful? So
Well, if you got a
I
grandpa around, there's definitely Altoids tins.
yeah. So first of all, I'd forgotten this is a little needle case that I have, and it won't go all the way. So I'm guessing there must have maybe been something else in there, but it is definitely a
Mhm.
needle case. It's part. And then in here is this doodad, and it is absolutely know that it is broken. It says Germany. I'm thinking that it goes on like some sort of manicure thing, but
Uh-huh.
see, like I think this flat part on the bottom, probably. And I'm wondering if it was like one of those fingernail buffer kind of things. But
Okay.
again, in a sewing kit, like you find these things and you're like, what in the hell was this?
Mm-hmm.
But it's carved. It's carved out of bone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I found that and I thought, here's a weird little doodad. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody does.
Okay.
And they originally had needles in here. First
Okay.
bunion plasters,
Okay.
then needles, and
Mhm.
now strange things carved out of bone.
Hmm.
You're
Oh,
welcome, you guys.
that's very interesting. Are we ready for a giveaway draw?
We are. It's very exciting.
Okay, I have got anybody any last minute hurrahs here. Oh, thanks, Robin. Robin said a reminder for everyone to please hit the thumbs up button. These ladies really need those likes to get their videos more widely seen. Yes, we do. Please hit the thumbs up. You have no idea how much it really helps. It really
Yeah,
helps
and
a lot.
I guess one thing we know, we as the Quilt Nerding account can post links, but we still have some limitations because we have to
Mhm.
get our viewership up.
Mhm.
So help us.
Yeah, and we found out that that we can post links in the chat, the live chat, but still in the description, it doesn't accept my links yet because we don't have a long enough longevity of the account yet. You need to have so much time or jump through so many more hurdles and things like that. You know, just obnoxious things. Okay, over to my random number generator. How many?
Today,
Okay, put that
today
in.
I can do a drum roll with
Don't break it or poke yourself in the eye, crying out loud. All right, and we're gonna hit it, and we got our number. And Rebecca. Rebecca, my darling, you have won
the
this
bag.
lovely, gorgeous tote. Sadly,
Congratulations.
I can't give it to Steph to bring to California with her. Like two
We live too far
California
apart.
girls, Steph. That
We
you're
live too far apart.
Yeah, that year because Arlene got won the book last year, and you were going to see her too in California. But yes, Rebecca, this is yours. Please get in touch with me either on the Instagram profile for Quilt Nerding, or you can send me a message on Facebook, or you can email at quiltnerding@gmail.com so that we can have your address to send that out to you. And
Very
then
excited.
as a reminder for the final giveaway, make sure that you're like taking your little selfie with your book or your dog or your friend or your sewing table or something and sharing to social media so that we see it, so that you can be in the drawing for Dawn's new book on our last section of this book. I'm really sad. And if you missed it at the top of the hour, we have to make a schedule change for our final reading. We should have been doing that on April 30th. There's a major scheduling conflict with Steph's trip, which two of you would also have been on anyways. So now you don't have to miss stuff. So we have to move that stream. There won't be a Book Talk Tuesday stream on April 30th. During the week that Stephanie is gone, I plan to do some pop-ups of maybe an unboxing. There might be a museum exhibit tour, something like that. But we're gonna move that final discussion to Sunday, May 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully more of you can tune in for that. This is going to give you a little bit of a break too. Maybe you're behind, maybe you want to catch up. It also means that our next book, the legacy book, we won't give the first assignment for that now until May 5th. Originally, we would give that assignment April 30th. So that will happen May 5th now. And then our interview with Dawn, which was originally all going to happen at once, she also has traveling commitments. So we're moving her interview to May 13th, which is a Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if there's particular questions that you were wanting to ask Dawn about her books, about her work, about her collection, about her lovely person, you can send those in to us either on the Instagram or the Facebook. You can message us privately to the email I mentioned, quiltnerding@gmail.com. And then we'll resume our normal schedule for our Book Talk Tuesdays on May 14th, where we will start the Legacy book.
Legacy book.
That was a whole lot. You will get reminded. You will get reminded
Yeah.
on Instagram. You'll get reminded on Facebook. Don't worry if it sounds confusing. We will always tell you where you need to be and when.
We'll put it in writing.
And then aside from that, Steph, what's your Twitch schedule looking like?
So I will be streaming on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern as usual. But then next week is all canceled just
Okay.
because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could even plan a pop-up just because of the
Mm-hmm.
internet and stuff.
But you
Um,
can definitely take pictures and maybe some video with your
I
phone,
sure
especially
can.
when you're meeting Arlene and Rebecca, and like you can show us later
Hmm.
what like super fun stuff you ladies did.
Hmm.
We can do all kinds of things.
Yeah. I could pop around a corner and surprise Barbara Brackman.
Well, that at
I won't
Mary
do that.
Kay, you'll have Mary Kay Walvogel there.
Yeah, Mary Kay will be there. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So
There's
yeah, I'll
gonna
take lots
be
of pictures and
there's gonna be lots of friends and cool stuff. And then Arlene again just asked what the next book is. It is Legacy. Hold on one second here. It is Legacy, the story of Talula Gilbert Bottoms and her quilts by Nancilu B. Burdick. It has been posted, Arlene, on the Instagram and on the Facebook. If you just scroll back a bit, you'll see it, as well as some affiliate codes that Steph and I have signed up for. We're still being approved for the Abe Books affiliate, but we have an Amazon affiliate link for because a lot of these books that we buy are old, they're used, they're not in print anymore. In a lot of instances, the authors aren't even around anymore if we're reading much older books. And when you guys use our affiliate link, we just get a really small percentage of the book sale, and that just helps offset the cost of things like giveaway shipping and some trips that we
yep.
take and other stuff that we do. So until we're big enough that we can actually like monetize the account to help pay for some of the lovely things that we do, that just helps us out. And then, in cases like Dawn's book here, where she's got it and she's selling it and she's around and can do, like, we will always try to go for the author directly first if we can, but in a lot of instances we can't. So that helps us out. Any more announcements?
I don't think so. That was a lot.
It was a
We've
lot.
really gone over, and you guys may notice these alternate dates that we've scheduled. We're moving them up an hour because we are starting to learn that we can never end this because we keep talking.
Yeah, we're starting to see if that fits us any better than doing the 8 o'clock, because then there's just a little bit of buffer time, because if we start going too much later, stuff starts to turn into a pumpkin. So that, that's what's up with that. And Arlene said that she agrees the internet where you guys will be in California is not ideal.
Yeah, it's not great.
And then Robin said to let her know when I'm doing pops up, she'll spread the word. Robin, I will be in touch, because if anything, like I said, as long as there's one person in the chat and people just watch the replay, but as long as there's one person, so I'm not just talking out into the void, it just helps a lot. And Rebecca said I was lucky enough to hear Dawn when she spoke to the Southern California Repiecers group. That's very interesting. Rebecca, you're gonna have to tell Steph that story when you see her.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I think that's going to do it for us. I'm getting
Yeah.
crispy.
I know, me too. I'm like,
I'm
yeah, it's been
starting
a
to
long day.
feel like leather. All right,
Really
everybody.
rough leather.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So
Bye, guys.
we will not see you next Tuesday. We'll see you on the 5th. And have a good trip, Steph.
Thank you. And yeah, Rebecca and Arlene, I'll see you on the other coast.
All right. Thanks so much, Dawn, for being
Bye,
here with
guys.
us. Bye-bye,
Yes, thank you so
everybody.
much, Dawn. Mwah!